Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's 10:30, so let's get started. I'm Cheryl Stritch, your moderator for today's forum, and before we introduce our 7 candidates, I'd like to provide a quick overview of today's format so everyone knows what to expect. Opening statements. Each candidate will have up to 3 minutes for their opening remarks. Prepared questions. Following the opening statements, we will present prepared questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to each question. Audience questions. After that, we will take questions from members in the audience, both here and via Zoom. Again, each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond. Closing statements. Each candidate will then have up to 2 minutes for their closing remarks. That will include our forum for the morning. And additional notes, the sequence of candidate seating and therefore the order of presentations was determined earlier by a random draw. There are 4 open seats on the 3rd Laguna Hills Board of Directors, each with the term expiring at the 2028 annual election. The candidate introductions, in the order determined by the draw, our candidates are Haydar Nazari, Steve Parsons, Egon Garthofner, did I say it right? Riza Karimi, Peggy Moore, John Kelsall, and S.K. Park. We will begin with number 1. Who's not? Okay. We will begin with Haydar Nazari. You have 3 minutes for your opening statement.
Yes, so I believe Haydar Nazari is not attending the meeting, so you could go with number 2, which is Steve Parsons.
Great. We will begin with Steve Parsons. You have 3 minutes for your opening statement. Your time will begin when our corporate secretary signals you to start. Please press the button to turn your microphone on before speaking and turn it off when you're finished. Thank you.
Good morning. I am an 11-year resident and I'm running for the 3rd Mutual Board. I want to start my candidate statement by sharing some of the achievements our board has accomplished over the last year. Then I will propose 2 new ideas that I have that can help improve our way of life in the village. Please remember, to bring about change takes thinking outside the box and creativity to develop new approaches to old problems and to develop new initiatives. Your 3rd Mutual Board has been doing just that. Let's start out with cost controls. Number 1, we are working with insurance companies that have developed new plans that will cost less and provide for our insurance needs in the future. Number 2, we have watched our reserves closely and are building them up. We do not accept the idea of special assessments and have no need of them. Number 3, we have taken a hard look at our projects and are making sure that we are pursuing the most important ones. In communication and planning, long-range planning has been established for projects extending into the out years. With the funds we have available, we need to plan this way in order to handle increasing cost in an acceptable way. Our board knows our fund base is not inexhaustible. In the area of issues affecting legislation, the State of California Legislature has an HOA committee that reviews and recommends the passing of legislation for approval on matters that affect us. We have begun the process to let our voices be heard in Sacramento on significant issues that affect us. Our board is implementing initiatives that are having a meaningful impact now and in the future. All our board members work closely together and share our research and ideas with each other. We have no hidden agendas and work for the common good of the community. Our results have been significant and are far-reaching. The initiatives I have thought of is number 1. I would like to see a plan to help relieve the parking congestion in the wedding cake area. I have several ideas for accomplishing this initiative. When the time is right, the board, staff, and residents could collaborate on these workable solutions. And number 2, electric vehicles. I would like to set up a test for supplying electric charging capabilities to individuals with EVs. As an example, we could take one Garden Villa building, upgrade the transformer and panel, and run conduit throughout the parking stalls. Participating individual owners would pay to run EV electric lines from the building electrical panel to their individual parking slot and be charged separately. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Egon Garthofner.
I'm pleased to announce my candidacy for the third board of directors. With a serious commitment in our community with clear vision of fiduciary responsibility directors owe to their HOAs. I believe I can contribute working with VMS effectively to oversee our expenditures. I am now a 10-year resident of Laguna Woods. I've been on the GRF board for just shy of 6 years, and I'm timed out, so that's why I'm running for the third board, because I think I can contribute here also. My primary focus on GRF has been to cut the wasteful spending. It's absolutely incredible. We would have by now special assessments if it had not been for the doggedness that I showed in various projects. For example, Clubhouse 3, the PAC, was cut back from $5 million requested to less than $1 million, and we achieved almost everything that was in the initial list. We just spent $3 million on Clubhouse 1. The asking was a couple of projects that came out of VMS, one $16 million, one $28 million. See, there are no watchdogs except the boards. Secondly, I believe in getting enhanced communication and really talking to people. Even though I was on the GRF board, I've spoken with many residents and helped them out in situations that arose, and maybe we'll have an example to bring one of those up. Third, we must improve the interaction between VMS and our board of directors, and our communication efforts will be in vain. We must clearly define our expectations. We are supposed to set the goals, not VMS. And in summary, I'm committed to supporting common sense goals and the practice of fiduciary responsibility on the board. I ask your support in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Reza Karimi.
Good morning. My name is Reza Karimi. I guess rather than talking about what I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce myself, what kind of background I have, and if you want to vote for me, what kind of experience I have that I can bring to the board for the Third Mutual. My education-wise, I have a PhD in alcohol chemistry. I have over 30 years of scientific and executive management experience in commercial and government agencies. I have overseen, participate in development and implementation of a streamlined organizational structure and procedure designed to increase the efficiency and productivity of the commercial and government operations. I have several publications in national and international scientific journal. I was federally appointed by White House to serve 3 full terms on the EPA Science Advisory. I'm past board member of the International Association of Environmental Laboratory and the past member of Battelle International Operation. My last job was with Battelle Memorial Institute. Before I retired, I was vice president and senior site manager at Tuala Chemical Depot, Aniston Chemical Depot, and Pueblo Chemical Depot to destroy the chemical warfares for the International Association of the United Nations. I manage more than 400 or 500 scientific personnel and technicians to monitor and destroy chemical warfares. I'm a past board member of the VMS. I was on GRF board, and currently I'm on third board. I am chairing the maintenance and construction for the Third Mutual. I'm on other committees with landscaping, and I will tell you during the question and answer what my goal is. One of my goals, first goal, is to bring sanity into the assessment, yearly assessment. Because if you look at over year to year, 1 year is 1%, 1 year is 0%, 1 year is 10%. That is a lack of planning. When you plan and you expect what's happening in the future, then you can plan and bring sanity into the assessment. You bring the sanity in the form of expectation that can be met by looking at what's coming to you. So that's my goal, to bring sanity and members understand what's coming on next week rather than a crapshoot that says this year is going to be 10%, next year is going to be 0%, because we don't want to spend money. We need to bring sanity in the budgeting, and that's going to be my goal, to streamline that and let it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Peggy Moore.
Thank you very much. I am going to follow my companion over here to my right and tell you why I think that I am qualified. Not what I'm going to do, but what I have done. So I have lived in the village for 9.5 years. Prior to moving to the village, I had a very robust career in both government and nonprofit positions. For example, in 2002, I was appointed by the mayor of Los Angeles to serve as one of the commissioners and the chair of the LA Fire and Police Commission, overseeing $13 billion in assets. Prior to this, I was appointed by the mayor of Los Angeles to serve as chair and vice chair of the nation's largest community redevelopment agency, serving from 1993 to 2002. I have served on the following boards: LA Visitors and Convention Bureau, the Executive Committee of the Boy Scouts of America, United Way, LA Executive Committee for the Super Bowl, 1984 Olympics, Director of Languages and Equestrian Events. In addition, I have served on the Indian Ridge Country Club HOA Board and a member and president for 4 years. With regard to my service in Laguna Woods Village, I am a member of the Third Mutual Board. Previously, I represented the Third Mutual on the Audit Committee for 4 years. As evidenced by the above, my whole career has been spent in service to my community, city, and state. I believe I have the requisite knowledge and skill that has benefited Third Mutual. My appointment to many positions by elected leaders is a demonstration of the confidence they have in my abilities. The breadth and depth of my experience, if given the opportunity, can continue to benefit the members of the Third Mutual. I love working with people. I have excellent listening skills and see myself as a problem solver. I would like to continue to represent the residents of Third Mutual. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next candidate is John Kelsall.
Good morning. My name is John Kelsall, and I'm honored to be running for a position on Third Mutual Board. My wife and I absolutely love this community. It is our forever home, and we wish the best for it. The reason I would like to serve on the Third Board of Third Board of Directors is because we have been residents of Laguna Wood for 13 years, and I would like to give back to this wonderful community. My goals for the future are to preserve and maintain the outstanding qualities and amenities inherent in this village. Laguna Woods Village is one of the top 10 best retirement communities in California and one of the top 5 safest cities in the state. One reason my wife and I chose to move here 13 years ago. I would like to help maintain those wonderful statistics. My driving principle for any decision is what is best for Third Mutual and Laguna Woods. As several of the board openings are with existing board members running for a second term, I propose to roll in as the new guy on the block and bring fresh blood to the board. As a user of a wheelchair, I have a unique understanding of accessibility needs, which is especially important in a community that serves individuals age 55 and older. I am committed to ensuring our neighborhood is both welcoming and accessible to everyone. I bring 51 years of experience in both owning my own business, working in the corporate world, and serving on various nonprofit boards. This diverse background has equipped me with a well-rounded perspective and the skills needed to make a positive impact. I believe that my blend of experience, passion for this community, and commitment to accessibility makes me a strong candidate for the board. I would be honored to serve and work alongside all of you to make our community even get better. Again, my name is John Kelsall. I would appreciate your vote. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next candidate is S.K. Park.
Thank you. Good morning. Hello, our third residents. It has been great honor to serve as a board member for last 3 years. Since I was elected to Third Mutual Board on January 2023, my primary goal has been serving our third residents, resident first. Furthermore, it is based on my lifelong professional experience, such as quality and process engineering. Those experiences help me to guide what to focus on our third mutual board and residents. In short, the focus area has been A, reducing waste. Second, improving efficiency. Now, as a president of the third board of directors since last October, I had a chance to work together with our 10 fellow directors for our third mutual business and accomplished a lot of things. Among many, I would like to point out the accomplishments as follows. First, resolved many residents' complaints and tickets. Second, lowered the current rent limit to 30% from 30% to 25%. Third, resolved unpermitted alterations. 4, not to give away our common areas. 5, lowered the property insurance premium from 7.2 million to 4.4 million currently. 6, increased the slope maintenance from 2 cycle to 3 cycle and to repair slope spots. Among current 11 board of directors, Director Reza Karimi, Director Peggy Moore, Director Steve Parson, and myself, terms of all 4 directors will end at the end of this year. I ask our resident to elect 4 of us in order to continue to serve our third mutual business. In addition, it has been less than 1 year since I represented as a third board president. I realized that 1 year is hardly enough time to do things that we plan to accomplish. In order to accomplish more, I'd like to point out 2 improvements to be made in the future. To improve VMS response time, to improve VMS service, to improve MS's site work efficiency. Can I finish it?
How much more do you have?
Just a few more seconds. No?
Time's up.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
We're going to go into prepared questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to prepared questions. Question 1 is going to go in order from the seating arrangement, 1 to 8. I'm sorry, it's going to be 2 to 7. Questions 2 to 4 will be random at my choosing. So let's start with Steve Parsons, and then it's going to come around this way. Share why are you running to become a member of the Third Mutual Board of Directors, and what in particular you're hoping to accomplish as a third director.
Since I've been here, when we changed over from PCM to VMS, I was on the first VMS board. Since then, I've been serving on Third Mutual almost exclusively. I've been involved in clubs, things like that, and special committees on GRF. I think I have the experience and the background to continue. We have a very close-knit board on Third. We've made a lot of steps forward, and I want to see those continue. I've covered in my opening statement a couple things that I would like to see happen, and I think they're doable. If the time is right, then we can jump into it.
Thank you. Egon?
Okay, well, I plan to continue with the work that I've done on GRF, work, that is getting more efficient expenditure of capital. The overall assessment for third is considerably higher than it is for GRF, more than twice. And so there is even more stuff to look at. And I'll be working on that. I'll also be working to help people out that have problems. For example, I befriended someone new in Gate 11, and she's had a number of problems, one with her roof. And after a year and a half, she got no action. I finally was able to help her. And the way I did that is to make a detailed drawing of what was wrong with the roof, because the workman came out, looked at it and said, oh, it's okay. And so we finally got that resolved. Then the other day, and SK brought this up about unauthorized alterations. Well, it works both ways. Apparently, the lady had her air conditioner break down. She had to wait for a part. So the people finally came and were making the repair, and somebody from Third drove by and saw an air conditioning truck in the driveway. So they started a ticket on her and said that she is being checked out, report of potential non-compliance for installing a new air conditioner. All she was doing is having a part put in. If you had a new air conditioner, you would see it. It's a big item. You don't put it in your back pocket. So, and they never even talked to her. They just reported her. So then 2 days later, they sent her, this is called a ticket for service. And 2 days later, they send her a questionnaire. He says, how was our service? It's crazy. I've always said that in an organization that is so inefficient in allocating capital, as VMS has been, is what are the chances that the operating part of that thing will be just a superb organization? I don't think it is. I think it's just as messed up as often people come to the board. And
Thank you
complain.
very much.
Thank you.
Next candidate is Reza.
Thank you, Sharon. We all pay assessment, and we want to make sure that every dollar that we pay into the assessment is properly allocated and used for the need of the community and improvement. We have a very old infrastructure here. As an MNC chair, I see that, waistline that need a lot of work, dry routes, buildings. But one of the things that happen in the community and is positive is most of the people that buy the new unit, they do remodeling. So the inside of the unit are being remodeled. That's good news. And some of the piping and lining is done. But we still have the structure and the waistline that need to be worked on. Those are expected costs. We also need to plan for the unexpected. Every day we hear something coming from Sacramento. The turf reduction. Well, to save water, we have to spend millions of dollars to remove the non-functional turfs. Now the zero fire zone. There are millions of dollars. All need to be planning ahead, physical responsibility. We have limited money that comes in as assessment. We need to plan. We need to plan for expected and unexpected. We should not caught off guard. Say, we didn't know that. This is coming. We need to have reserves that to take care of this community. This is aging community, and we need to take care of that. So my goal is to work hard on budgeting and fiscal responsibility and make sure every dollar that we have, it is spent properly.
Thank you. Next candidate is Peggy Moore.
Thank you. Under my microphone, so you can hear me. We have a 6,000 home group that we are responsible for. That is not small. We have a $63 million budget a year. All of that encompasses many decisions that a board has to make. Many individual things are constantly changing You know what it's like in your own home. You know what it's like here. So for all of you, I believe we have to look at the residents as a whole. Individuality is not as important to me as making sure that we are consistent in the decisions that we make and how we treat the whole and what is best for you, all of you. I truly believe that the efforts that we have been making to get along very well with United, and I see Mickey in the audience, it is very important that both of our mutuals collectively work together for the strength of this community, not only to keep it as to what it was performed for originally, but to maintain and get us better. We have younger people coming in with new ideas. Those ideas are great ideas. How can we encompass them in what we do? We can do that by listening. We can do that by having you come forward. There are more of you here today than normally at a meeting. We need your input. I would love it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next candidate is John Kelsall.
Well, since I'm the only one here that's not on the board, I don't have as much insight as my wonderful colleagues here do. But as my mother used to say, always make your dollar do the work of five. So I think one of the first things that and Ms. Moore mentioned was fiscal responsibility. Fiscal responsibility and the continuation of the wonderful amenities and activities that we have going on in Laguna Woods and expanding on those whenever possible, but within fiscal responsibility. I think that we have a wonderful village here. We all have individual needs, so I think one of the important things that Ms. Moore also mentioned was listening. And I think listening to the needs and wants of our residents is primary for the board to not only help in directing what needs to be done, but also in doing what is most important at any one point in time. So again, fiscal responsibility, listening, and doing what's best for Laguna Woods Village and Third Mutual.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And next candidate is S.K. Park.
Thank you. This question is just in time. I will finish up what I was going to say. I was going to provide you with an example, with examples of future plan that we had and I had. First, to improve the VMS response time. Second, VMS response services. To improve the MNC site work efficiency and dry rot problems. To improve landscape slope maintenance and repair. PPRP, AB 1572. I'm sorry to say all this, but because short time. AB 130 and Fire Zone 0 projects. To improve expenses and 2026 budget problems. These are the things and reasons of why I'd like to continue to serve our third board, and I'm asking our third mutual residents to vote for current board members Reza Krimi, Peggy Moore, and Steve Parson, and myself. Thank you.
Thank you. With our next question, we're going to start with Egon. Illustrate the key issues facing Third Mutual and its members and the skills, knowledge, or experience you possess that may help address those issues. And then we're going to go around this way. So, Steve, you'll be last.
Well, the key issue that seemed to be facing Third right now are one we're renovating buildings, happen to be renovating the one that I'm living in. So I see how that goes and what kind of money gets spent on it, and that's a very big item. The other item I understand is plumbing leaks, and so there has to be an efficient way or an effective way to do that. And the idea has been to run epoxy in the lines, and that project has actually been going slower than it was originally intended to. The third one is water intrusion. It's amazing how large our damage control department is. And a lot of that is actually preventable. For example, in all of the three-story buildings, the garden villas that I live in, there are vents. And if you look in there, there have been 2 water intrusion events in my particular building. And actually, after the first one, I made a recommendation to the M&C to put covers over those things. If you look over at the Ayers Hotel, you'll find that they have vents, but they all have these covers that shield them from rain. So when you have a very serious rain condition, it gets in there and it causes problems. That can be eliminated that simply, and M&C didn't follow through on my suggestion. But my main thing will be what we started in GRF board when I was on it, and I started it with 2 other people, one from who is now dead and one from United, and that is to go out and look at the actual problem, talk to the actual person that has the problem, because sitting in the boardroom, you're not going to get the right answers from our operating people. Thank you.
Thank you. Next candidate is Reza.
Well, it look like we all know what the major issues that we're facing are for the Third Mutual. Couple of things on the M&C, and then we have issues on the landscaping. M&C that I'm chairing, we talk about the waistline remediation and the cleaning up the waistline, and then dry routes. You know, making sure that the buildings are inspected properly and then they have been worked on. And that one we joined with the what is called prior to paint program also. That means the landscaping and M&C work together to have one project called prior to paint. That means remove all the shrubbing and everything from the building before they start construction work and the painting issue. And then after that, they come back and put the plant in, and those plants are now water resistance and 5 feet from the building. So we save money by joining the project together. The waistline issue, in the past, the decision was that just do the epoxy lining indiscriminately. No, understand the problem, plan, and execute. We understand that it is not one size fits all. We need to first clean the pipes, send the camera in. If the pipe is good, these are cast iron, don't need the lining. Why you spend millions of dollars for something that you don't need and you can spend somewhere else? So if you plan properly and execute properly, you can save money and you can do the job right. And that's the goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next candidate is Peggy Moore.
Thank you. One of my key issues is to maintain a strong reserve account. Many of you do not understand the need for a reserve account. So let me share with you the reason that we have one. We have one to maintain your roofs, your paint, your streets. All of that falls into the reserve. Many people say, well, you have 32 million there. Why don't you use it? We have it planned out year after year after year as to what's going to be necessary. When is your home painted? When is your roof changed? But impacting that, all of that, is the needs that come up with items that happen immediately. Your fire in Palos Verdes and Altadena affected not only our insurance, but it affected how we're going to maintain our community against fire damage. You know the hills we have around. They are very definitely fire places that once they start, they would overtake us. So some of the things that are important to me are how do we protect our community against those things that are naturally going to change, and also keep our eye on our reserves and on our budget. To do that, you need to look at everything overall. Yes, we take the individual things and they are important, but maintaining an overall concept by planning, preparing, conserving, and watching what the needs are going to be in the future of our community are important. Thank you.
Thank you. Next candidate is John Kelsall.
Well, again, being on the outside, I think we have to watch for threats, both external and internal. We are a wonderful community in our own sort of little bubble, but we are impacted by both state and federal changes. One of the things that Ms. Moore had sort of alluded to were natural disasters. I'm on the Laguna Woods Natural Disaster Preparedness Task Force, which includes things such as fire, drought, flood, and climate change. So we need to learn to be able to be self-sufficient, shelter in place, because we will probably be one of the last addressed because of our age. They're going to be going to hospitals, to schools, and other places probably first. So what we need to do is to listen and what's best and prioritize. I think the word prioritize is important. That was alluded to over here. The different things, do we need to redo that pipe or is something else more important on an intelligent priority list? And again, it comes back to my experience in the for-profit and nonprofit world of financial challenges and responsibilities and being prepared for them. Both those that are anticipated and even those that are not anticipated, including Ms. Moore's reference to a reserve fund. That's exactly what it's there for, is for the unexpected as well. So again, listen, financial responsibility, and prioritize. Thank you.
Thank you. Next candidate is S.K. Park.
Thank you. Our third biggest problem at this point are, first, budget to allocate landscape projects such as AB 1572 and Fire Zone 0 for all the money that we need to repair, or perhaps honor the state bill. And the second item is MNC dry rot issue, because building is 60 years old and we need to repair a lot of them. In fact, this year we allocated another appropriation for $500,000 to further increase. And another problem that we have, MNC, is moisture intrusion. And I will give you a good example of road repair. Another one is a road service, that is resurface or slurry coating process. We scheduled slurry coating or resurface our road manually. We decide what we do, that's a VMS plan, but we decide to do slurry coating as long as we maintain, so that we don't have to reduce our budget, reserve fund. And that's what we've been doing, and also the same way we do on the waistline epoxy coating as well. And people told me that if we delay the surface or slurry coating on the road, delay is kind of a kicking down the road. I do not believe that's the case in our case. Road, yes, we do have some spot that we can, but we just simply repair the spot and slurry coat. That will work for whole 1 year right now. So thank you. That's what we continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Next candidate is Steve Parsons.
Okay, thank you. Just want to tag on to a few things that Reza and Peggy have brought up, and talk to you a little bit about dry rot and what's happening in 4 major buildings right now. We had a budget set up this year for 4 buildings, actually more, and because of dry rot, some major beams in the big buildings have had to be replaced. And these are not cheap, and it's not easy to bring them in and put them into place. That costs significant money. We've had to allocate $500,000 more just in the last month to continue the program to cover 4 buildings. In landscaping, you've heard about Zone 0. This is being driven by CAL FIRE and the governor's office. Once they make up their mind of what they want us to do, we can move forward. But in the meantime, we do have a skeleton outline that they've sent us the end of June. We're working with that and planning to handle some of these situations as best we know right now. Public input has already passed. That's been done, and now we're just waiting for the final draft to come from Sacramento. Financial priorities. This is something we talk about every week. We just have to continually go over with staff what our priorities are, and we have to adjust to them. It's not a one-time-a-year type thing where you come up with a budget. Some of you have seen the Green Book. It takes you through every line item in our budgets, not only for our third, but everybody. So that's a big concern to us, and we deal with that weekly. Sacramento, as Peggy brought up, we need a voice up there, of which we are working on now to establish that. There are flat things that are wrong with Davis Sterling. And in case you haven't seen the abbreviated Davis Sterling book, this is what it looks like. Okay, those are governing laws, statutes, and things passed by the legislators that we have to follow. So it's very complex, and it takes a lot of time.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very much. We're on to the third question, and we'll start with Reza and then again go around the table. Here we go. Board directors are usually members of several third and/or GRF committees. Share the committees of which you are most interested in serving as a member and why.
Well, I'm on many committees right now. I'm pretty much on every committee on the third and about 4 committees on the GRF. So all of them are my interest, and I'm happy to serve on those and give my input and make sure, again, that every dollar that we spend is spent properly through those activities of the committee. So I've been assigned to some of those by board, and my keen interest actually is for the third on the MNC and the landscaping, where the most of the money is spent and the most activity take place, and proper planning, understanding the problem, and being physically responsible is a key to execution of those. And I can, I have and will continue supporting that and use my past experience to bring information of we do a better job in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next candidate is Peggy Moore.
Thank you. I am on the Finance Committee, as you would assume, just for my answers. And I'm also an alternate on a number of the other committees. You will find that most of your board members are committed to being at least present at many of your committee meetings. This is so that we are all updated and knowledgeable about what is going on in our entire community. I've had several kind of committees that are not board committees. They are made up of the board members, but they are specifically to look at items. One of them is your CC&Rs. They have not been updated since 1988. So we are in the process of bringing those up to speed. We are all board members that are on that committee, and I'm heading that committee. We also have the agreement between the Village Management Program. That committee is looking at how we work with VMS. What are our expectations? What do we assume they are to do for us? What are we to do for them? One of the most important things is to be able to not give them overbearing things they have to check for variances and other things, but to streamline and make important the jobs that they do. They are very receptive to everything we want. Thank you.
Thank you. Next candidate is John Kelsall.
Again, new kid on the block. I have to have some uniqueness. As I had mentioned before, I'm on the Disaster Preparedness Task Force, which I'm very proud to serve on, and I am the Par 3 coordinator for that area. In terms of committees, I know I will be assigned to whatever committees are appropriate, and if and when I am able to come on third board. But the CC&R is one that I am very interested in to see how we can bring that up to date and fulfill many of the needs within the community. I've been on several nonprofit boards outside the community. I'm on the Tenet Foundation board, which is outside the community, but still gives me some insights into the nonprofit world. Again, being the new kid on the block, I'm not sure where my services can best be needed from my business and nonprofit experience, but I'd be more than happy to be directed to where I can best serve.
Thank you. Next candidate is S.K. Park.
Yeah, thank you. I think I'm interested in pretty much every committee that you can assign to, but MNC, landscape, and resident policy are the most important and interest area. However, right now, to me, the budget of the 2026 and the VMS efficiency is, to me, most important. I'm working hard for you for that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Next candidate is Steve Parsons.
Okay, thank you. I serve as the secretary for the board at present, and a lot of my time is in research. And I like doing research, and we find new things that come up all the time. But some of the committees I'm on, and for GRF, there are 2 committees and 11 committees on third. Some of them are landscape, resident policy, water, architectural standards, governance, research, and I do research, disaster preparedness, and finance. I'm definitely interested in all of these. I think one thing I haven't mentioned is disaster preparedness that John brought up. I would like to see us have a more viable program that's built around our community, that if anything happens, it's instantaneous. We know what to do, we know where to go, we know who to help. And through this disaster preparedness committee, those topics come up. And I would like to see it strengthened and made more viable at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Last candidate on this question is Egon.
Yeah, I've been a member, chair of the GRF committee on, the M&C committee on GRF since the beginning of when I was first joined the GRF. I've also been the chair of SCCA, Security Community Access okay. Yeah. Anyway, and I've been on many committees as just a member. I really enjoy working on the M&C committee because it really, there's a lot of work that goes on. And we need to get, as I pointed out, a much better idea of what's really happening. If you just sit here at the board, which so many people have done in the past, and you're a bobblehead, you get bobblehead response, because while I have found that the individual low-level worker is very, very good when they come to your unit or do something, I found that the planning people and levels above that are not quite as responsive. As I pointed out when I showed them a major way to reduce water intrusion. By the way, dry rot is not dry rot. It comes from water getting in. And one of the easiest things we ought to be able to fix on a permanent basis is keeping water out of buildings. With the new materials we have, it's a slam dunk to reduce water intrusion. And so anyway, but I enjoy working on committees because that's where the work gets done. If you're a student of the history, it was true that most of the Constitution, the problems that arose during that long convention when they set up our government, was done in committees, not in the group as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. We're on to the fourth question, and we'll start with Peggy, and then again go around the table. Describe what you believe are the key activities of the board directors and what you expect your time commitment to be as a third mutual board director.
I think that being a member of the third board is overwhelming. You thought you had a life. But I will tell you, it is very rewarding. very rewarding. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of research, it takes a lot of discussions, it takes a lot of working within your board because you have many people on a board with all different opinions. So the cohesiveness is probably one of the most important things. And as I worked with United on one of our projects, I was just blown away by the importance that it was to the president of United to work alongside of Third. That is a huge gift to us and to all of our residents. The more consistent we can be in all of our projects and all of our decisions are a benefit to every individual who lives in this community. When a board thinks that they should change everything because they're a new board, I totally disagree. You're here to maintain the good things, to make better those things that are beginning to get sad in whether it's looks, whether it's finances, whatever it is. We are here to structure those. We are here to protect your investment. And that's what I want to see happen as we go forward. Did I answer the question?
Thank you. Yes, you did. Thank you very much. John Kelsall?
Key activities and time commitment. First of all, let's talk about time commitment. I wouldn't be sitting here if I wasn't already willing to put in the time required in research and discussions and collaborations with other board members and other boards within Laguna Woods Village. The other thing that I think is kind of really important that Ms. Moore alluded to was collaboration. Collaboration is extremely important that all of us within Laguna Woods Village are at least working in the same essential direction for what's best for Laguna Woods Village and Third Mutual. Collaboration takes time. Collaboration takes time in going and talking with other board members, individuals, listening to residents, and finding the common direction that is best for all. Time requirement, I'm not worried about. I wouldn't be sitting here if I wasn't already committed to whatever that might be. I've been on other boards and many boards at the same time, so I understand what time commitment, and it's always more than you thought it was. And thank you for advising me now, Ms. Moore. Now you tell me. But no, I would be more than happy to commit whatever is necessary for what is best for Third Mutual.
Thank you. S.K. Park?
Yes, thank you for the question. I wish I have more time to spend for the residents. My primary goal has been resident first. What that means to me is I visited pretty much all the people. I try to visit all the people, as many as I can, as much as I can. I visited, find out what the problems are, and then try to solve those issues. To me, that is most important for the residents and Third Board as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next candidate is Steve Parsons.
Thank you. I'd just like to read a little quip here from Davis Sterling as to what our main duties are. It says, directors must be diligent and careful in performing the duties they have undertaken. Directors must, number one, attend and participate in meetings. 2, make reasonable inquiries regarding maintenance issues, rules violations, and so forth. A very important one is number 3, the ability to make decisions and make them timely. 4, keep corporate records, which I as secretary am in charge of. Number 5, enforce the governing documents. This is something that is untasteful from time to time, but it's still something that needs to be done for the good of the community. And last, oversee the association's finances. In the past, I was president for 2 years. That was 24/7. I had people calling in the middle of the night, early in the morning, things like that. And that's what SK is going through right now. But my particular role right now, there are some days I have 8 hours that I work with the board, sometimes 4. I'm always thinking about things that need to come up and making to-do notes. It's not easy in a time commitment to do this. And then you get together and you collaborate, and out of that comes more things to do. So it's very, very time-consuming, but like has been said, it's well worth it if we can help people. And that's one of my goals.
Thank you. Last up, no, not last up. Egon?
Would you repeat the question so I get the exact words that you had at the beginning?
I was wondering when I was going to get that. Describe what you believe are the key activities of the board directors and what you expect your time commitment to be as a third mutual board director.
Well, the key activities are obviously to review all of the business that reaches the third mutual, all of the issues that come to it. And one of the things is to attend all board meetings. I don't think I've missed any board meetings in my nearly 6 years. And as far as time is concerned, I'm flexible. You know, I put in whatever it takes. If somebody calls and says, hey, we're going to want to have a special meeting, I have no problem with that. I instituted stuff. For example, M&C didn't want to meet every month. They meet every other month. But there were scheduling problems, so I instituted a workshop where staff wasn't part of it, so we could discuss the problems openly. One of the big problems was staff said, well, we don't have enough backup support and stuff to do the meeting every month, so we did it on our own. So I have absolutely no problem with whatever amount of time it takes. And it is actually a very, very rewarding thing to be able to do what we do. So that's my answer to that.
Thank you. Reza?
Yeah, I guess time commitment, I'll tell you, when I was working full-time as a dean of facility, I felt less pressure than I'm working at the board here, because now I'm spending money out of my pocket and fellow members that I know them, and I'm spending their money for the budget. So I'm going to be a whole lot more concerned and careful about what I'm doing than when the government gave me that bunch of money and said, go do the job. So this is a whole lot more pressure and need a whole lot more planning and investigating. And as a board member, we should have a trade of listening and learning and planning, understanding the issues before we make a decision. Some of us might have a habit of making decisions seat of the pants. Oh, this is good for today. Let's not be reactive. Let's be proactive. Let's plan. Let's think about things. When we put a resolution in place and we put a requirement in place, we better understand what the ramification is for the long term, rather than the flavor of the day and we're going to do it just today because it sounds good. So it got a lot more thinking and a lot more planning in this position, and it takes a lot more time. And I'm happy to do it because I get enjoyment out of it, and I like it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last prepared question, we'll start with John Kelsall. Discuss briefly how you would handle an action that the board feels is in the best interest of the community, but goes against public opinion.
Well, first of all, we need to define public. I mean, is public part of Laguna Woods Village, or is that outside Laguna Woods Village?
I can only read the question. I can't answer yours.
Well, then let's define it. Let's define public as outside of the Laguna Woods Village. And if there is an action that is best for Laguna Woods Village and Third Mutual, then that would be where I would be leaning towards that decision. Outside public opinion, I don't think we have to worry so much about marketing Laguna Woods Village because it is already well-known and a wonderful community in and of itself. So the public basically be damned. I would listen to their opinion and listen to their reason as to why, because it may have weight and value as part of the decision weighing process. But if it's not in the best interest of the community, then I would have to weigh against it more so than for. So again, I come back to the deriving principle for me is what's best for Third Mutual and Laguna Woods Village. And if I can answer that in the affirmative, then I think we're moving in the right direction. How does that impact an action, again, that how does it affect other mutuals? And collaborate with the others to get a joint input and joint direction that, again, would be best for us. Again, not denying the public, but listening to them and seeing how that could impact our overall decision.
Thank you. S.K. Park?
Yes, first, I will seek public opinion of the certain things that oppose the board decision. And the second thing is I will review what the rules and regulation or perhaps the state and federal law. And then I try to communicate to the residents why we have to make a decision against you. And I think those communication, the communication is very important to the residents. And as I have been doing, I will seek and visit individuals who oppose and to find out what was the reason and try to compromise between board decision against the residents opposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Parsons?
Okay, once again, I'd like to drop back to Davis Sterling and bring up business judgment rule. And I think you'll see where we have a little leeway on certain things on boards. It may not be totally in line. But to open the statement, it says, even though officers and directors are deemed fiduciaries, boards are not required to make the right decision. Rather, they must make what they believe to the best decision for the corporation with the available information. And areas to look at is working in good faith, best interest in a manner which directors believe to be the best interest for the corporation, and make reasonable inquiry. And with reasonable inquiry, you have sources you can go to. Like has already been mentioned, to public, no matter how you do it, individually or town hall meetings or things like that. But we have competent advice we can count on. And I'll just read some of the people that we can go to. Accountants, attorneys, bankers, consultants, insurance brokers and agents, managers, reserve specialists, and vendors that have expertise. So I think that with this, we can put our heads together pretty easily and find out what the best thing is to do. And like I say, there's times where there may be pushback to Davis Sterling. And it's warranted. Recently, a person of legal nature had mentioned that Davis Sterling is not complete and has to be updated. CAI, which is a corporation of people in the area that has lawyers and people from other HOAs, they are pushing back. We are now starting our process to push back. So, we can do this, and we can do it in a palatable manner, and hopefully we can find changes that we can use.
Thank you. Egon?
Well, the public that I am most concerned with, or have been most concerned with when I'm on the board, is the public that lives within Laguna Woods Village, because those are our public. Those are our the people that we have to serve, not the people outside the gate. And we cannot really affect larger public opinion that much by what we do inside. And there's plenty of work to do inside. So But you run into situations all the time where you are asked to vote for or discuss a project that may be unpopular with the residents. And the answer there is education. The answer is to lay out all the facts, pro and con, and really let people try to understand. So you're not going to satisfy all of the people all of the time. So the idea is to get get the salient ideas of the project out there so that people will understand. I'm also somewhat of a fan of having meetings with and possibly even having a plebiscite on certain issues. For example, we've had them on insurance, and the problem has been that there hasn't been enough response to satisfy Sterling Davis as to whether or not we can, the community can vote on certain rules, things that come up. For example, the requirement of insurance in third has been a very nasty one. So my main point of view on that is to be very open about it and to educate the people that you are serving. Thank you.
Thank you. Reza?
All I can say, communication, communication, communication. Be open, nothing behind closed door. If you have a plan it properly, prepare your case, present your case, and be ready to answer questions. And be able to convince, if you have a good case, then you should be able to communicate with the membership and tell them why that's good for them. They are ultimately going to make a decision that, that's good for me or not. It's not like doctor. You want to give them a prescription. If the patient doesn't want to take it, you cannot force him. But the point is that as a board member, when you plan, when you have a case, you should be able to communicate. And when you communicate, the rumor mill stops. That's where the killer is. Because when people don't know what's happening behind closed door, they become resistant to it. They close their mind. They're not going to listen. Be open. Tell them it's for the community. It's not for me. It's not for X, Y, Z. It's for all of us. If you have a case, bring it up, discuss it, talk about it, and make your case. 99% of the time, people will listen because they want to get things done also. They want to make things better. They're not opposed to it. But when you're not open, they close their mind too. Communication, communication. That's my pull.
Thank you. Peggy Moore?
It's hard to believe that the board would make a decision that's adverse to the community as a whole. There are many times that we have to make decisions that are not understood by the community, so consequently you have a resistance. Know that the board has many resources it goes to before it makes a big decision that is going to affect the community. As Steve said, we have legal, we have all types of resources to be able to go to. He mentioned Davis Sterling. One of the problems we have with Davis Sterling is that they do not have an HOA that's as large as we are, that even comes close to us. We are unique. So I would say that our decisions as a board are always about what do we need now and what could we put off if we have to. Sometimes the community thinks that we should take something on that is not necessarily to our benefit at the moment because we have other priorities. It is through communication that we let our community know. The issue here is not everybody in our community chooses to look at the breeze, at the television, come to a board meeting, or do any of the things that would enlighten them on why we made the decision that we made. And we also have the small pieces in the community that choose to come up with opinions that are very adverse to what we're doing, usually not built on fact. So all I can say is, when you hear something and you're not in favor of it, tune in, see what the reasoning was that the board had to make this decision, and then talk to a board member. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we should be having resident questions.
Yes, we have 3 so far that have been submitted. We did receive one, unfortunately, from a United member, and we can only have Third Mutual Manor owners submit these questions. And just a reminder, we'll have about until roughly 12:15, and then the candidates will need to start their closing statements.
All right. We're going to start with SK for the first question.
Sure.
Third Mutual spent about $500,000 per year on electricity. That's going up 14% this year, with more increases coming. What would you do to hold down the increases?
To be honest, I do not know how to hold down the rate the SEC control. However, we need conserve our energy cost ourselves. That's the first thing I would do. Second, we'll have some kind of task force once we have a new board formed. And I'm thinking of going into some kind of energy. We've been waiting for the other board, like a GRF and the United, what they come up with energy task forces. And I'd like to see what happened, and we can come up with some kind of task force so that we can conserve or perhaps lower the energy cost. So at this moment, I don't know. It's not in our control, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
I agree with SK on quite a few things he said. If you don't know, Third already has some solar energy we've been using for years, and it saved us a lot of money. Do we want to start right now into more solar? I don't think so. We don't have all the answers to what makes sense to us. We are still looking at our reserves. We're looking at what is encumbered. In other words, the money that has to be reserved for must-pay bills and things like that. I am appreciative of GRF doing research on a solar field, things like that. Things like that make sense to me, but not right at the present. I understand we could make some savings, but we still have to balance what our other bills are and make sure we can keep going with those.
Thank you. Egon?
Yeah. Throughout the whole country, energy is a big problem, especially electrical energy, in part because the regulations that have come down the line have changed how you're allowed to generate electricity. And certainly in California, coal has gone out the window, and so has petroleum, so we're stuck with natural gas. We've got one very good nuclear reactor up near San Luis Obispo, and the rest is now adding to it is solar and wind. For Laguna Woods, I think it would be important that we start dealing with that. I personally, if I could get roof space allocated on the building I live in, would pay for solar installation because it will pay out. The payout on the third one that was instituted a few years ago is going to be kind of long, but the newer ones are getting more efficient, so therefore payouts will be shorter. There is still some time to get government chipping in, and there may be new projects in the future, even after this one has sunset. But I think that would be a very important thing to do. The important thing about it, though, is you got to really study it. You got to really do it well, because that will affect the ultimate payout of these. But definitely, that should be in our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Reza?
Yeah, that's kind of a loaded question. There are three prongs. There are things that we can control, there are things we can't control, and there are things that can plan. Things that can control, for example, the street lights and carport lights, we can control those because there are a lot of carports that the lights stay on after hours, and when the sunshine is there, carport is on, or the street lights that don't work properly or they're on. So those are the things that we can control. Those are, part of it that we need to plan and control. Things we cannot control is the rate goes up, we can scream and yell, but I don't think we can do much. The thing that we can plan is under renewable energy. As we go forward, the world is changing, the technology are changing. We need to look at the options that coming up and plan. So the planning for the future, if I go back 20 years ago, when people that lived here before 20 years ago, they decided to put the conduit for the fiber in the ground. If they didn't do that 20 years ago, today it would have cost us $20-30 million to do that. So we need to plan that for the future. As the renewable energy is becoming more efficient, becoming online, we need to get ourselves educated and plan. So that three things, the things that we can control, the things we cannot control, we have to just scream at it, and then things that we can plan. And the planning is the one that third board need to look at and plan for the future, as they did in the past, the boards. Thank you.
Thank you. Peggy Moore?
Yes. I agree with much of what my compadre said here, who is very knowledgeable in that particular area. But I will say this. We have low-impact lighting in all of our streetlights and in almost every area that we can put low impact. How do we change it? I don't think we turn the lights off. There's a welfare in this community that we have to be really cognizant of, and that is our people need light. They need light to go to their cars. They need light to walk on the street. So that's a must. Looking in the future as to what might be coming down the line, and there are different things, we need to find out what those are, be aware of them, and prepare for those changes. The utility bills are going to go up. You all know that. You all know what SEC is doing as far as solar is concerned, and how they're changing the rules of many of you who had solar from the beginning, had an understanding of what it was going to be. It's now changing. So when we look at 6,000 homes, and how do we save, we need to be cognizant of change, cognizant of what's coming down the road, make effort to adhere to that so that we can best benefit our community for low rates. Thank you.
Thank you. John Kelsall?
Well, first of all, we need to look at what our options are. I think one of the first things we should do as a board for third, but also with the other boards, is to put together a committee of expertise within our community. We have a lot of electrical engineers and other expertise within the community that may be able to keep us up to date with the latest technology and what is coming in the future. So again, what are our options? Well, one of our options is to tap into the nuclear reactor that they're going to put on the moon.
You already done that.
You know I'm kidding. That would be a long wire. Renewable energy, I think, is an important one, not only for cost effectiveness, but also for our environment. Ms. Moore took away part of my speech when she said, no, absolutely, you're way ahead of me, that bulbs are as efficient as we can possibly get them throughout the community. But I think, again, what are the options? I mean, we don't know. If we look back 20 years, there's technology now that we had no idea of was even possible 20 years ago. 20 years from now, I'm sure there's going to be some technology that we're going to find out about that who knows what it is right now, and may come from a Dick Tracy watch. But again, we need to control what is controllable, as Mr. said. Plan for where we can have a possibility, but explore options. What are the possibilities that we know of right now, plus what are the possibilities that might be coming down the pike? And again, I think the biggest thing in my mind is explore options with as many people who have expertise as we possibly can.
Thank you. We're on to the next question, and we will start with Steve Parsons. A third of the budget is allocated for GRF. How would you deal with it?
That's a loaded question. Can all the GRF people leave, please? No, there are a lot of things that GRF does that's beneficial to all of us, and we have to pay for some of that. One of the ways we have input on that is through GRF committees, and I'm on 2 of those, and we discuss things about cost benefits, what the plans might be. There are things that we can do, and like we said, there are things we can't do. We just have to take, as far as I'm concerned, we have to take things one at a time and topic by topic. So I can't tell you right now what we could do other than through the committee process, and whatever makes sense, find out who the experts are and let's go to it. But a lot of this takes planning. You cannot get away from long-range planning. Our budgets just don't accommodate quick, over-the-counter payments. You can't just get into a major project right off the bat without financial support and planning.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to Reza. I'll come back to Egon.
Okay, well, I think Steve said that, GRF have responsibility and they put budget together, and their final decision is with the GRF board. But as a third, we get ourselves involved and we get input of what we think, they also should do. I would use the same thing that I said about third. All of the board, we need to bring sanity into the budgeting. We cannot have 0% one year, 15% next year, 7% year after that, because that shows lack of planning and understanding what's happening. So when you understand what's coming your way, you plan properly. Also, the health of the reserve is extremely important for a community like us, because every day something comes out of Sacramento that hit us from the sideway and we don't prepare for it. Then, the word special assessment that scare everybody. We don't want to be in those situations. We want to have a healthy community. When people buy in this community, the first question they ask from the real estate that I did is, how's the reserve? Because if the reserve of the community is not there, that means the community is in trouble. They cannot support themselves. So all of those need to be brought into the project. And I'm pretty sure that the GRF board, they're well responsible, they know, and we looking at maybe not going over 5% for us, and I'm hoping that the GRF kind of follow the same plan. If they can, I'm going to suggest that, but we will see what happens. I mean, they have a responsibility too, and I honor that. But at the same time, I will give my input, and I ask for fiscal responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to Egon, and I'm going to reread the question. 1/3 of budget is allocated to GRF. How would you deal with it?
Well, I'm dealing with it right now. The way I would deal with it, and on the third board, I will be on committees. I will be on GRF committees. And that is where you have the most input when you're sitting on a mutual board. So what have we done in the past? You remember a long time ago, there was a first lady who had a motto on drugs, and it just say no. Okay, well, VMS has a drug habit with our money. And the answer is to just say no to all of those things that are not necessary. And there are many, many of those. And I have done that consistently. I worked with other people on our committees from both United and Third to institute those things. And from the very beginning, the very first thing I worked on is the driving range out here. Somebody turned off the water. what a common sense thing to do. That had less than 1% of all of the water used in Laguna Woods went to that driving range. And they turned the water off and the grass died. And then they said, well, let's have a project. And they came up with $500,000 and a $1 million project for that, just to fix that driving range. And we got that down to $360,000. So the answer is, don't just accept what comes at you. You know, most of the projects that we face in GRF come from VMS. We don't sit there and have a meeting and say, hey, let's come up with some projects. They come to us. And that's also a problem. We need to generate the projects that come to us. That was the original intent when VMS was formed by the boards in 2015. Thank you.
Thank you. Peggy?
Thank you. GRF is responsible for all of the amenities that we have. Our gyms, our golf course, our clubhouses. The reserves that they have are probably one of the most important things that we can focus on, and that's what we're focusing on. You may be aware that the third board asked GRF not to pursue the solar panels at this time. We're getting hit because we said that. Now, it's not because we don't want solar panels. We do. But we have to take a look at what it's doing to the bottom line of their reserves. We had a very huge expense this year, which is our fiber optics wear. That was a huge hit. When you have something like that, you need to guard against anything else that's going to impact your reserves. So if you want something as strong as that, and we felt as a board as a whole that it's something we want in the future, then let's put it in that. Let's put it over the years. Show how we can do this. But if you're cognizant enough, take a look at what GRF spends in their budget. I do. I have a number of items that I've circled that I will query them on in the budget this year, because I feel very, very definitely that what they give us must be what we want as a whole. Our gyms are important. Physical fitness to most of this community is important. Our games are important. That's what brings people here. That's what people love. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Well, I think it comes down to the cost-benefit ratio question. What are we getting for our money? Is it fiscally responsible? Are there any duplications or waste? And thank you, Egon, for being a representative from us to GRF so that at least our voice can be heard there. But it really comes down to, in my business, when you get a bill, you don't just pay it. You want to know, what is this for? What benefit do I get from this? What value do I get from this? So it really comes down to the cost-benefit ratio that we are getting as a third mutual, and we are getting as a whole, as a village. So, you know, I can't say we don't write the check. You know, that's not an option. But as Ms. Peggy just mentioned, we have a lot of benefits that we do get from GRF, and it oversees a lot of amenities and values and enjoyment that we as senior citizens are privileged to have. So again, what do we get for our money? Is there any duplication? Is there any waste that we can help and control? Thank you.
Thank you. SK?
Yes, the question is how to deal with the GRF budget, right? I tried to twist their arms, but it hasn't worked. I talked to GRF board presidents and the United presidents many times of the budget cuts. It came down a little bit, but not enough. I still don't like it. I tried to twist their arms, but it hasn't successful. They have their own duty to perform. That's what we call fiduciary duty. But all I can say is they hope to come with what they need to perform. What they want is not what I like to see. I will give you a good example. When they plan to change all the umbrella cloth, I visited pretty much all swimming pool to make sure those needed is granted. To my eye, was not. And they come up with change all the tables on the clubhouses. I visited there, was not to me granted. So I hope they come out with what they have to change or improve, not what they want. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last question, who did I start with? Egon, I'll be starting with you. Directors are always mindful of budget, following the law, and ensuring management follows best practices, but little attention to aesthetics. Consequently, the curb appeal of our buildings has degraded over the decades. As a director, what would you do to ensure our buildings are beautiful, that the architecture retains its integrity, and our curb appeal is elevated? For example, would you use architects and other design professionals to upgrade our aesthetics and increase property value?
Well, that sounds on the surface like a really interesting question. And boy, would it be fun to do that. But who's going to pay for it? So, yeah, we get all kinds of interesting ideas that we could go forward with. But paying for it is something else. Right now, we do what is necessary. Okay, for example, we're redoing the manors where I live, the 3-story buildings, and they will look really good when we're finished with that. That is about the most we can do with the money that we have. It's a combination of beautification, if you want to call it that, which is what the project we called for Clubhouse 1 was, a beautification of the thing rather than a rebuilding. But you know, you can't. In the community, there are so many voices that you can only go with one or two. You can't go with everybody, and everybody has a different idea of aesthetics. So all we can do there is maintain what we have, make sure it doesn't get run down, and we do that. For example, big thing is roads. The village roads are kept up. So as far as I can see, there's very little that we can do that wouldn't be a new project. I mean, would we redesign a building? How would you go about doing that? So a lot of that would actually is not so necessary in third, because most of our buildings are now stucco. There's a lot of that has to be done, maybe in United, to bring it up to some newer standards, because they were built earlier. So it's a difficult job, but I would not necessarily run out to upgrade everything because one or two people want it, because do they want to pay for it? The answer usually is no.
Thank you. Reza?
Well, that's, interesting. Again, is wants versus need. Yeah, that's something that, if you have $100 million sitting in a bank account and you don't know what to do with it, let's spend it on, architect and change the structure of the building and all of that. We have infrastructure. We do dry rots and we paint the buildings. We maintain the building. These are 60 years old building. The curb appeal can be done different ways. We can do better landscaping at the gates, for example, or take the barbed wires around the community, which is like a gulag, and put the shepherd crows there. So we can do other things that doesn't cost a lot, but still improve the curb appeal through the landscaping and some of the minor things that we can do. But changing the architect of the building and the structure, if you have $100 million, you give it to me, I'll make this a heaven for you. But I don't have one. Thanks.
Thank you. Peggy?
That was a very loaded question, whomever it was from. I think there's a lot of diversity in what people feel is updated. and what there is in consistency. Because we are I'll say it again, 6,000 residents, to get a common opinion as to how we should update would be almost horrific. So if you keep them painted, if you keep the landscape up to date, landscape cared for, that to me shows a great deal of interest in your homes. There is a lot to be said for community property. What can we do? How can we do this? There's a lot of ideas. But I think all of you will state that the consistency of green, well-manicured yards, along with the entrance into the gates, which are now very well done, most of them, is important. It's an entrance into your community. As one drives through, as you see things that are not done well, bring it up. Bring it up to the landscape committee. Call Steve Parsons. Make it known that this is not what it should be. And there are things, believe me, that should not be there. So I think to make a full architectural change, it would be impossible. But to keep us looking really outstanding, and anybody who's been in redevelopment knows that you can redo a community by not changing the structure, but updating it with paint and proper planting and concrete areas, pavers. Those kinds of things enhance your community. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Well, again, we come back to the definition of what is appealing and what is aesthetically important to you. When I was in real estate, I would ask somebody, what size backyard do you want? Somebody would say, this room is a big backyard. I'd have another person that said 3 acres was a big backyard. So what is aesthetically appealing to the majority? I totally agree with Peggy that the aesthetics of the landscaping is critically important for first of impact, visual impact when you come into the community. After that, and if we need to go to professionals such as architecture, then if that's required, then we need to go there. Again, I have difficulty with just a very broad term, aesthetics. It means different things to different people. What is the common aesthetic appeal that we can come up with? As Peggy mentioned, you've got landscape. But when we come to, and obviously mentioned before was maintenance and upkeep is important to have the visual appeal and the aesthetic appeal. And then I guess it comes down to prioritize. What is the common aesthetic desire? And as Egon said, how do you pay for it? Who's paying for it? Is that individual manor paying for it? Is the Third Mutual paying for it? Is GRF paying for it? Who's paying for it, and how can we afford to do that? Thank you.
Thank you. SK?
Yes, thank you for the question. My question to the questioner that could you review our fund, which is a reserve fund? Do we have enough fund to spend what we want rather than what we have to? So please ask that question when our reserve fund change from current red to green color. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
I have to laugh following that. Wow. Well, there's things that you need to know that we are wrestling with. In the Architectural Control Committee, we wrestle with aesthetics. And that's one of the things Davis Sterling says we have to consider whenever somebody's doing an alteration. You just have to think about aesthetics. I'll give you an example. When people want to push out from their front door into their front patio, do you want it to look like a box? Or do you want it to look more inviting to get you into a courtyard? Those are things we wrestle with. In landscape, this year we've gone to 6 cycles. So there's more mowing, there's more trimming, more into flower bed maintenance, things like that. And you probably won't realize it until the end of the year, and then you look back to last year. But that's stuff that's already being done now. We are looking at turf dethatching. This place has never had it. It should have it within every 10 years. Okay, so when they go out in the edge, you may see where the thatch or the lawn from the sidewalk is like this, okay? It should be down about like that, and it's never been done. So we're looking into the possibility of dethatching. Tree trimming. You may know the Bartlett Company is out here trimming trees. You got to understand, we've got almost 15,000 trees in Third alone. They've got more over in United. Okay, we have professional arborists, 2 of them, that work with us. Bartlett has professional arborists that work with them. So trimming may not look exactly right to you, but it's done by species, by time. So they are working hard right now on Third to get that done in the next couple months. That's a lot of crews out there working. And I think United has just had it done. They've gone through that. So there are things like that that does help curb appeal. Oh,
Thank you.
I needed to add one more thing.
You got that too.
One more thing.
Stevie, you got that too.
Of real concern though, is what the Willows didn't do. That's down here on Santa Maria. They didn't do their side hills. So I went to Kurt and I said, hey, isn't there a city code that they have to keep up their side hills? You know, from weeds, from overgrowth and all like that. Come to find out, they're in Laguna Hills. Laguna Hills sent somebody over, and within a week they were out there taking down a lot of their side hills. So it's things like that that we can do that helps curb appeal.
Thank you so much, Steve. Do we need to take a break? A 5-minute? Okay, we're not going to take a break. We're going to go right into. We're going to go right into closing statements. You'll have 2 minutes, and we'll start with SK.
Oh, thank you. I will make sure this time it's not going to go over. As I mentioned, my priority, resident first. I love to serve our residents with that priority and our Third mutual board. If I reelected as a board member for another 3-year term, I would like to pledge the following improvements. First, VMS response, VMS service, MNC work efficiency, landscape slope maintenance and repair, and the 2026 budget, I think I'm going to lose it, but I'm going to try it. Also, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to introduce current fellow 3 directors as well. It is outstanding accomplishment of Third board directors for short 1-year period. And I would love to continue to serve with our current Third board members. These are the reasons why I would like to ask our resident to vote me and the other 3 directors. Reza Karimi, Director Peggy Moore, and Director Steve Parson. Thank you.
Thank you. John Kelsall.
Thanks for leaving me out. Oh, I had to. I'm sorry, that was too wide open.
Fine.
Sorry.
No, you're not. I would like to run for Third board because I would like to give back. Third Mutual is very unique. My mother and father-in-law lived here for 27 years, and that's one reason why we came to the village was because of Mom and Dad. They were here for 27 years because they loved it. We've been here 13 years, and I love it as well. As a user of a wheelchair, I feel I can bring some advantage to the board with accessibility and welcoming to everyone. And my 51 years of experience in the business world, both my own business, nonprofit, and corporate, I have a broad understanding of what it takes to drive a business and a nonprofit. I believe my blend of experience and passion for this community and commitment to accessibility makes me a strong candidate for the board, and I would be honored to serve and work alongside all of you to make our community even better. Thank you. My name is John Kelsall. I welcome your vote.
Thank you. Peggy Moore?
Sorry, I was sitting back relaxing, listening to everybody. My final statement. So many of the things that I've spoken to this morning represent what I represent. My opening statement represents what I came from to help with my knowledge on the Third Mutual. Most of all, I think we need to manage what we have, keep it performing at its highest level, watching it fiscally, with a fiscal responsibility. How do we do that? We do that by unification of our community, keeping our community informed, having a board that isn't at odds with each other or at odds with other boards, that we are unified in the direction we want to go. And I'm assuming it's a developer that asked us about the facades and the fronts of the buildings. If it's not, let me say that I too agree with you that the aesthetics as you drive through the community should be consistently good looking. And that's a landscape issue, which I drop on Steve's shoulders. It's important to me that the finances are kept correctly, that we enhance that we do, that we keep our reserves strong, that we update our CC&Rs, that we update very long overdue bylaws, and to really, really focus on our reserves and our investments. I'm going to give out one compliment here this morning because I haven't heard anybody say anything. But a few years ago, we were hit with a huge insurance bill. Huge. One board member who now sits on our board was recalled because of it. That board member has turned around and investigated insurances in such a way that he has put us in an absolutely outstanding insurance position. So I just want to say this, and this is most important. Do not fall behind those individuals who wish to disrupt the board.
Thank you. Sorry.
Sorry, I ran out of time. I did it too.
Reza?
Thank you. I'm just going to talk motherhood and apple pie. The opportunity to serve and improve the environment around me is a commitment I have faithfully carried out with much success. I have a wealth of experience in managing multifaceted projects, dealing with human resources and financial constraints. I have successfully overseen multi-billion-dollar projects and will bring the same zeal to issue here at the village. The chance to make a meaningful impact in the community is an opportunity away from which I can't turn. The Third Mutual Board offers a venue for me to serve those I live with and to help residents garner additional resources and outlet that in turn will enhance the efficiency, prestige, and lifestyle of those residing within the community here in the village. I'm currently director of the Third Mutual and serve with the Committee on Third and GRF. My experience and background in program, people, and financial management gives me the opportunity to contribute and provide meaningful suggestion to improve services and bring efficiency and productivity to our operation at a reasonable cost to our members. For example, this past year, I helped reduce our property insurance premium by over $1 million. We also reduced the manor available for lease to 25%, thereby having more owner-occupied manor, which I call it pride of ownership. So I request your vote. And I pitch for Mr. Kelsey too, so you're not left alone.
Thank you. Egon?
First of all, I'd like to thank SK for using my wonderful pool umbrella example. I used that to shame the Recreation Department on really wasteful spending. 4 or 5 years ago, they asked for and got something like $170,000 for pool furniture, where we have a few tables and late shades lounges. This year, they're asking for another $100,000, so I cut that to 10. That'll more than take care of anything that's damaged. In the past, they've just replaced everything whole scale. Silly, crazy. Anyway, thank you, SK. So you have heard from each candidate about the importance of maintaining reserves and the fiduciary responsibility. So how do you, the voter, differentiate? The best indicator of future potential is past performance. I have a history of helping residents whenever they need it, and I follow those requests to completion. Since my first year on the GRF board, I have gone out of the boardroom to inspect and see firsthand what money is requested for. We do not have a revenue problem in this village. We have a spending problem. We will be faced with very large dollar projects in the near future, turf reduction, a fire zone, landscape rework. To work on these, to save money on these projects, we have to do the saving. BMS will not do it for us. I now frequently use ChatGPT to give me answers to questions that I don't know things about yet. I worked hard on the past in the GRF board, and I will work just as hard on the third board to get you more for your money. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
Well, I'll stand for this one. I'm the guy that's taking the shots. I guess it's because I'm a retired Air Force officer. But my time was spent in the military in accounting, finance, budgeting, and logistics. So that's what I am concerned with, and it directly applies to the board. But anyway, my concluding statement. Today, things are changing so rapidly, and new demands are being placed on our resources like never before. We need experienced leadership who know the history of Third Mutual, the projects that are important to us, and a sharp vision of where we need to go. Working diligently in our governance structure over the past 11 years, I have acquired the knowledge, history, experience, and a clear vision to help guide us successfully through these challenging times, even if I take the shots. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In conclusion, thank you to all of our candidates for participating today. Thank you to our residents for attending, both here and in person and via Zoom. Your engagement is vital to our community, and I want to thank all of you.
Oh.